Today, you get what you pay for, and today you paid for a ChillPoint. This is ChillPoint.
Heather and Beej and this invisible person.
Welcome to ChillPoint. I'm Beej.
I'm Heather.
And we are very happy to be presenting you with the latest in gaming news that we had to put very little effort into actually writing stories about. Paul actually...
Paul helped us source the stories.
He compiles these stories.
He deserves the credit.
Exactly. And we will we'll get to our subs and whatnot at the end of the at the end of the show.
I like this blazer.
It is a good blazer, I think. I'm gonna move over a lot more.
It's so good. It's incredibly cool.
I'm surprised actually with where we are at on the camera right now is that it does feel like I'm sitting way off in the boonies. But
yeah, we maybe really should reposition that camera.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe one day.
I'm not sure how that's gonna.
It's not my problem.
Right. So let's start with talking about the stories because I think that's what we just have to get into.
I mean, we should talk about the stories because our time is tight.
Yeah.
At 2 p.m., they're going to want to come in here
Absolutely.
and play the other thing.
All right.
So is there a particular one you want to start with?
I would like to start with the, I think, okay, Microsoft's official examples of acceptable trash talk are a joy. Because Microsoft they have updated their company policies.
I'm going to be posting these links as we talk about them in the chat. So
Yeah.
chat can follow along if they wish to.
Yeah, it's this is a thing that was on an editorial of not really an editorial. This is news.
This is a statement of fact.
Yeah, and it's they've updated the company's community standards for Xbox in an effort to try to curtail the more egregious types of trash talk because they're sick of having Xbox be associated with saying sexual and racist slurs all the time.
Yeah.
And
so the fun part about the story isn't that they've updated their thing, but they set examples.
Yeah,
They placed examples.
Because they're like, here's some examples of some like stuff we don't want you to do, and then here's some examples of what we do want you to do. And so, for example,
They made a Mad Libs.
yeah, where they say, "Get sexual threat. Can't believe you thought you were on my level." That's bad trash talk. But instead, "Get destroyed. Can't believe you thought you were on my level." Or,
really
"Hey,
wish-
profanity. That was some serious potato aim. Get wrecked, trash." Why not just say, "That was some serious potato aim. Get wrecked"?
I like potatoes.
Yeah.
I mean, not really. They're definitely worth throwing other than eating.
I
But-
think if you, as MTV CDM points out, if you actually said "Hey, profanity," that would be great. I think if you came up with very clever ways to insult people, that would be fine. Like if you went like Shakespearean English deep,
Yeah,
and
maybe.
you figured out a way to get like back to Elizabethan times with the way that you're insulting people, that would be fun.
The only thing I wish is that they had actually made a 80s style video on this, like those computer videos you used to see where it's like, you have the internet now. What do you do with it? Well,
Yeah.
here's a very old computer. You turn it on.
Yeah.
Look at all the wonders you can behold upon the internet.
Just
I
get-
think that would have
get-
been really great, as like, especially if they got somebody to say things like at a headset and they were like, hey, profanity. That was some serious potato aim. And then like, cool dude McJeff shows up and is like, you don't have to say that.
It's interesting.
Like, it'd be great.
I think absurd ideas like Orbital Tuna says you shoot like a dairy farmer. I actually think the more absurd your the ways that you insult people would be way more fun. That if you worked on your vocabulary enough that you could find unusual ways to be insulting
Or
that don't make any sense, I think that would be great.
Or if you're stifling for ideas, watch TV shows like Recess. They say that womps. Or my favorite, The Good Place, where they say stuff like Mother Shirter.
Yeah, they get forked.
Yeah.
But what else was in here is good. So instead of cheap win, totally expected from a racial slur, You just say, cheap win, come at me when you can actually drive without running cars off the road. I was not even aware that was how you lay into people on racing games, is you call them racial slurs. But I guess maybe it's printed on the side of the cars.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the come at me when you actually drive without running cars off the road, because I feel like that's a thing you can use in shooters.
Yeah.
You don't need to have cars around to tell people that they should come back when they can drive.
The thing that kills me is the last one they have in their list where it's, you suck, get out of my country, maybe they'll let you back in when your KD's over 1. And I was just kind of like... But I was like...
I don't even like hearing you say it out loud.
It's awful, right? But it's like the thing where it's like, get out of my country.
On the video game internet that we're playing on.
Yeah. The person could be anywhere.
Yeah, that's just dumb.
And it's looking at all this, I'm like, these don't make you sound smart or particularly like...
I mean, they had to come up with examples.
They do, right? That's the thing. And but it's also like, it feels, when you read the trash talk that Microsoft is proposing, saying these things instead, it's just kind of weird to be like, we want you to have an outlet for your aggression, because clearly you're going to be upset because you're getting ruined all the time because you're trash at playing games. Let's just be honest. But all we want is for you to address that in an acceptable way and stop calling people things that are, you know, when you're reaching out like this, it's like you're like when you're insulting people, you're trying to be hurtful. And they're like, but we want you to be hurtful without actually being hurtful.
Well, because you notice they don't care if you're hurtful. They just don't want you to use racial slurs or sexual threats.
Yeah. Yeah, which is fun, which would be great. Because that would actually be literally a step up above where they are right now. But they're like, we still are fine if you are... You know what? Hey, be shitty.
Yeah,
but just be shitty in a way that doesn't make you shitty. I guess?
I feel like we should just move on.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything more in that story, and
no.
Coming up with more may just take us down a path we don't want to go.
Yeah. I mean, I hope you fall off a sea cliff. That was great.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Good on the person who was that salty in Magic Online, because that was great. What else have we got?
Well, we have a streaming service that wants to save the retro gaming biz from piracy, according to Ars Technica.
Yeah, this is a new service called AntStream, which is getting funding to launch, and I think is going to launch soon, or has already launched. I was doing my best to read these before the show.
It was a long article.
Yeah. It's interesting because the guy who's starting it is like...
I don't think it's started yet, because the article says that they just reached their Kickstarter goal.
He's doing... It's retro gaming based. It's like Commodore 64... Atari, oh no, let's see. Let's be very fair. Over 2,000 classic titles, this is what they're looking into. From the arcade, ZX Spectrum, Amiga, Commodore 64, and Sega Genesis. Because you're not going to get Nintendo platform stuff. They even addressed that in the article. It's like the chances of that
the likelihood are small.
Yeah. The idea is that rather than downloading the ROM to your computer or to whatever devices that you're using, they are streaming the video and audio to you, so you are playing a game remotely, which can be very... Somebody in the comments actually, in this Ars Technica article, actually said that the ROM itself is actually smaller than a single frame of data being sent over the internet.
Like, as they've said in the article, there are people that don't feel comfortable with ROMs being downloaded for even under a thing like this, and so having it be a stream, and the guy running it says he also shares the view expressed by Microsoft and Google and other companies that have been making announcements recently that the industry is going towards streaming, and I don't disagree.
Yeah.
The industry is definitely trying to go towards streaming because, let's face it, if you own all the stuff and you can take it away whenever you want, and people have to have internet access and all these things, you can make sure that people are never buying your games secondhand.
Yeah.
That's a business decision.
Yeah.
That's not a decision that not everybody wants to have happen. Like, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and during their question section, they had a person asking if they thought Nintendo would ever go through that, because they were worried that Nintendo would go streaming only, and the person placed the Switch on a naval base where they're underwater,
Right.
so they can't do streaming.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to make streaming happen for that.
No. No. No, those are corner cases. I mean, to be fair.
I mean, that's a fairly particular corner case, but there's still lots of places that do not have good internet.
Yeah, it's doing streaming this way is, I mean, it's kind of, I think it's kind of the dream is that you have all the ROMs on lockdown in one area, and all anybody is doing is streaming on whatever device they want. I mean, in a way, it's kind of nice. Like I think what the guy who's running the company is like, he's got a good idea where it's like, hey, you'll just be able to play it. You'll just be able to, like, on any device you have, as long as we make a client for it, you'll just be able to play the game.
Yeah, I don't think the idea
It's like
itself
2,000
is bad.
games.
Because he's going after retro games. He's looking at the idea of basically making this gaming with Netflix, which is an idea that other people have been trying to do.
Yeah.
But he wants to go after those ROMs that consistently get pirated.
Yeah, absolutely. The beginning of the project, though, is based around stuff that has already been massively pirated, and the appeal to people, like, they're launching in the UK, and I'm kind of like, okay, that makes sense, because I mean, there were a lot of retro computers that were available in the UK that we never saw over here. And that there's still this popularity for things like the ZX Spectrum and the BBC Micro, or like all these different things. He wants to pick up stuff like the Intellivision, like more US based console stuff as well. But I can see why this might go over better in the UK, because I just have this feeling that people are more into that kind of retro gaming stuff than they are over here. Like the Commodore 64 stuff came out on the Wii for the Virtual Console, and big games that were like for the Commodore 64 back then, and they ended up pulling them off the platform. And I think there was no great loss there, because I think for most people it was like, there isn't that much. The Wii was everywhere, but there wasn't that much interest, I think, in people buying Commodore 64 games to play, like spending $1.99 or $2.99 or $3.99 when you could download the ROM for free, because you could just find a place to go do it. Or you're just like, I would rather spend my $2 or $3 on getting a game that's slightly newer and maybe better. You know, more going on in it, fun in different ways. I don't... retro gaming through emulation is... there's a whole bunch of it right now. There's like all sorts of different ways to do it. We talked about the Capcom home console, their home arcade thing they come up with. Like, everyone is trying to get into this business to do it, and this is very interesting, but I just think it's very interesting. I don't know if this is actually going to catch on in the way that they hope.
We'll see. I
grew up in this era, okay? I had a Commodore 64.
Okay.
I had a
Right.
I had a Coleco Gemini, so I got to play like Atari games and stuff like that. I don't want to go back. I'm done
Okay.
with that era.
All right. No one is judging you.
No.
In this room, at least.
Yeah.
All I was gonna say was they've had a Kickstarter with a pledge goal. They made it work.
Yep.
So it says that somebody wants this.
Yeah. There are
Just-
people who want to take part in this.
It's just not me. Just not me.
Yeah.
Have you?
I'm done.
You done?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this thing about Mario getting.
It seemed like an art project more than
It's-
anything else.
It's from a game jam.
Yeah.
You can download it off of itch.io.
Oh, it is actually playable in a way.
Yeah.
Okay, neat.
Well, I mean, they have the video of what it's like.
So you could
It's
just do that too.
Super Mario Brothers World 1-1 in different game styles. So first-person shooter, 100-player battle royale, trading card game, FMV, which I actually thought was pretty funny in the video.
Yeah, that was really good.
They did one that was basically Baba Is You, which I know you aren't familiar with that game, but I thought it looked cute. It's but
There's a
believe
text
they
adventure.
said- yeah, there's a text adventure, which I actually thought was interesting.
You can just this is just taking Super Mario Brothers World 1-1 and then just reimagining it as these 10 different
Yeah.
things. But the thing is it's not even the whole level. It's literally one screen.
Well, that's what they show in the video, and that's probably what it is from
Yeah.
the looks of it. I haven't downloaded and play it, but it is the third place winner from the Nordic Game Jam for 2019.
Yeah.
So that's, when you say it looks like an art project, it's because a lot of games that start in game jams kind of are.
Yeah.
It's just meant to be a simple idea with a person trying to do a thing.
Yeah.
And it's neat. There's not a lot to say about it.
Yeah, if you
but
want to
it's-
play it, you can play it, but
it's
you can
an-
also just watch the video and see what they did.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea to take a game and be like, hey, a lot of people know what Mario World 1-1 looks like.
Yep.
Here's it from some different perspectives.
All right, next story.
I don't understand this story.
I do.
Cool, then you can explain it.
Cool. So Cox Communications, which is a internet service provider in the United States, they're launching a service called Elite Gamer. Now, herein lies the rub. They're actually not launching this service. They are bundling this service in a way.
Right, it's a test thing in Arizona right now.
There's a service that already exists called WT Fast. Isn't that funny? Because WTF is in the thing. This Elite Gamer service. This Elite Gamer service.
Oh, wow, that looks good on you.
Damn,
Yeah.
that worked great.
It's a little tight, but I wanted it to feel cool.
It looks very slimming though. That's really
it
excellent.
looks like it fits in your shoulders pretty well.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea behind this service is that you sign up for it. It's $15 a month. You're paying Cox $15 a month, and then using a series of internet rules that will not screw with net neutrality in any way. They're promising to improve your ping, to reduce jitter, to basically improve the experience overall in playing your games that use online data, because it's supposed to find a faster path for your data.
What?
Because, how routing works on the internet is that
Oh no, you started him.
routers do their best to load balance traffic. If they're actually configured properly, what they're going to do is they're going to be sending traffic however they can send it, so that when it gets to the other end, if it starts from you, it'll go out, and most often it's all going in over the same, like, multiple hops to get to a location. And sometimes the routers are like, well, I know I can do that. I know I have a connection going that way, so I'm going to go tick, 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 tick. But what if you could go tick, 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 and actually be at your location?
No.
The router might not actually have established that connection, because maybe it couldn't. Maybe there was too much data being transmitted on that path, and so it found the next fastest one, which actually turns out to be like multiple hops to get there. What this service is doing, what WT Fast is doing, and Cox is just taking the WT Fast service and they're rebranding it to sell it to people. That's all they're doing. So it's not something that relies solely upon Cox's network. It doesn't rely upon special endpoints or anything like that. All this is doing is just, it's enhanced quality of service. If you know how that works, it's like when you send a video file over the internet and they have to find a faster route for the video file to get to people, like a Skype call or anything else, because you don't want to have dropouts, you don't want to have frame loss, you want to have people have an excellent experience when watching a video, like on Netflix or whatever. So you try to find the shortest distance, the shortest path that has a lot of available bandwidths, and then.
Isn't that just what fast laning is?
In this case, it isn't Cox saying we are establishing, like, we're selling a service that will block off a piece of traffic. All they're doing is saying we are using this service that, using specialized network rules, will shorten the number of hops. That's a weird thing to say, shorten the number, but it will shorten the distance, so you have to go through less hops in order to get to the location that you need to get to. That technically doesn't break net neutrality rules. But it sure rubs right up against it.
Bring a whole new meaning to pay to win, though, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Like
If you're playing a game that relies upon it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it makes sense. It's like that's all well and good if you're talking about Netflix or YouTube or something like that. getting that speedier path makes sense. But when you're using it as an advantage in a game, now it gets a little weird. Now it gets a little, it's like, but I mean, at the same time, it's like if you're willing to pay 15 extra bucks a month to make it so that your ping is, 5 or 10 on average less than every other player, I guess who's to say that that's wrong if you're willing to pay it?
Yeah.
I don't know. You're right. It's like right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things where the net neutrality, while it is like something that you can point to as like there is a letter of the law, and I know that in the United States that net neutrality is, I think, Jesus, did they not repeal that? I can't remember if they did it or not, but
I can't keep up with
there
it.
there were things that the Tom Wheeler FCC did to try to enshrine net neutrality as something the FCC follows, and then Ajit Pai, who's a dick ass, shows up and says, "Yeah, no, we're overturning that. We're not making it a thing." And then Congress was like, "Well, hey, that's great because that's great for the people who line our pockets. So we are not going to pass a law that enshrines this." So essentially, net neutrality is not something that actually lives up to anything now in the in the United States. I mean, there is more to the world than just that. I think this service is an interesting idea that you can basically pay for someone. You're probably going to having to run a client, and then you're paying for that client to basically shorten the distance between you and wherever it is that you're going. And it has to be. It's apparently based on being able to detect the kind of traffic that you're transmitting. So if you're playing a game, it has to be aware of the kind of traffic that game sends. So it's interesting this product exists. I would just rather that the networks were set up this way to prioritize traffic that actually does need this kind of treatment always. That everyone has access to it regardless of what ISP you're on, and it's just part of how the internet works. The problem is it's not part of how the internet works. That it's not, every bit of traffic has to be agnostic, or else you just don't accomplish what you want to accomplish. And you can end up making like virtual private networks and saying, in this VPN, then I can have faster traffic. I have worked in places where it's like you want to have very fast, dedicated transfer of video and audio because you're doing video conferencing between multiple endpoints, and so you're trying to find a way to prioritize that. That can get very complicated, and it is a thing that the internet is very handy to be able to use these days for people to work remotely and be able to collaborate remotely. It's just hard to make that happen, and of course people are willing to pay for a thing like that. But I would still rather have net neutrality over the rest of this, but anyway.
You know what else the internet is having a hard time with?
What's that?
And it's got to go fast. Sonic
Good.
the Hedgehog.
Good segue.
It's a thing. It's a lot of people reacting.
I realize my man don't got no ass, though.
Yeah, it's pretty flat.
Yeah, my man ain't got no ass, and it's weird.
Well, I mean, what's weird about it is the fact that they're trying to make him look more like human-esque, as opposed to because I've seen the things people have done where they've put way more of his design in, but with the same fur graphic, and it looks way better.
Oh yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
But this article is mostly a collection of like
people
tweets
freaking out
the internet made, and my favorite one is the one where the person suggested that during the movie pitch meeting, Jim Carrey just came in going teeth, 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 and everyone just started chanting teeth.
Yeah. I still am not entirely certain why the trailer has Gangsta's Paradise in it.
No one really seems to know.
Because, like, I remember Coolio apparently not being very happy with the fact that Weird Al parodied the song, because Weird Al thought he had his permission based on the conversations that they'd had between agents and stuff, but Coolio had never explicitly told his agent that it was okay to give Weird Al permission to parody the song, and that created like a rift between the two of them for a while. I don't know if they ever worked that shit out or not. because Coolio was like, this is a serious
Yeah.
song talking about serious things, and then there's a parody of it, and I'm like, and now it's in a trailer for a Hedgehog
so-
movie.
Sonic aside, like if we pretend Sonic doesn't look the way he does, this movie is just really weird.
Yeah.
It's
Like, you were watching this, and I'm like, is this a fan edit of the... And it's like, no, this is literally the official trailer.
This is the official trailer. It just dropped. It's the first thing I'm going to watch this morning, and now you have to wake up to it, too. It's just, like, the fact that he basically ends up playing with a human to be like, we're going to play cops now, is weird. What I want is them to take the movie... I want them to take Sonic out of the movie and just make a movie about Dr. Robotnik, because he looks ridiculous and more interesting to me
Yeah.
than weird Sonic, his legs are too long, somehow he got white hand fur instead of gloves, even though he has access to shoes.
Yeah. Also, there's
So his eyes are wrong.
there's a meme that's going around that Sonic is a mass baby murderer, because he creates an EMP that affects the entire Pacific Northwest. He goes that fast on the ground that he creates an EMP that does this. And as a result, if you do a lot of calculations, you would figure out that there's about 419 babies that would have been in the neonatal unit at the time, that he would have basically blown out all of the equipment in a hospital, in multiple hospitals across the Pacific Northwest, and then therefore he probably killed, on average, about that many babies because all the equipment gets blown out from an EMP. And I was like, neat.
What?
Yeah. The people got real deep into here's why this thing is a major problem. And I was like, Christ!
I do not go to the same parts of the internet that you do.
Yeah. No, you don't. And people talking about which Eggman is good to fuck and which one is not.
Okay, I mean, I've seen that, but...
Yeah,
like,
and apparently the good Eggman to fuck are all the ones that are not Jim Carrey, and the bad Eggman to fuck is the Jim Carrey one. Don't fuck the Eggman, Jim Carrey.
Okay. This conversation went places I wasn't expecting. I like the design for the Eggman from...
the later games?
Shoot, this is the CG Sonic and Knuckles
Okay. From Sonic Forces?
show.
Or Sonic Suggests?
Sonic Suggests sounds like something else. I don't... Look, my Sonic the Hedgehog is Saturday morning a.m. Sat a.m. Most of these other Sonics are not mine. Specifically not this movie one.
Yep. So the anything that I've heard, especially on Something Awful, was people essentially saying, this looks terrible. I am going to go see it, but boy does this look terrible.
That was the truest take I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Was the one that was just like, this is awful. We're all going to see it.
Yeah, we all know this is terrible.
And
we all are all going to go see this.
I think this comes out after the Detective Pikachu movie.
It's in theaters November.
Oh yeah, that definitely comes out later.
Yeah.
Detective Pikachu comes out
but
soon.
Man, yeah, the internet's having a very hard time with that.
Well, it's a thing. I want to get off this topic, so
Sure.
Speaking of a hard time, let's talk about a sex game.
Yeah. So, a sex game is being made, and I mean that happens. This one got thrown on Kickstarter and has made 1.6 million pounds, or was it euro? I think it was pounds. It only was looking for 100,000 pounds. And hey, here's the thing: I'm all about make a sex game, sell a sex game, buy a sex game, enjoy a sex game. Like, do it, whatever.
Yeah. It's being made by Studio Fow.
Yeah. What? Okay. So this is the lead on the Polygon article. 4 years ago, Studio Fow was known as a collective that created brutal porn films featuring the heroines of popular video games. And they mean like rape and abuse.
Yeah.
Because that you can sell that and people will buy that. And so they're like, okay, so we're going to make a video game, because they were doing everything in Unreal Engine 4. I guess.
Yeah, and so they said, well,
if we're doing it in a game engine, why not
we should make a video game. And I do not think that people who make movies can't make video games, but video games are not the same as making movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that. this game that they're making, does this have a title of what it's called?
Subverse is the name of the game.
Right.
And it's a hybrid video game. In that, I guess there's like the gameplay elements, but there's also just lots and lots of cutscenes.
You unlock hentai.
Yeah, you're humping
which,
a lot
you
of
know,
CG
whatever.
ladies.
They've said that all of the sex that happens in it is fully consensual.
I love in the Kickstarter, each waifu, my god, they use the word waifu
Yes, they
everywhere, will have unlockable, fully animated, Studio FAO quality hentai scenes. And I'm kind of like,
I mean, I watched the
I'm not sure
trailer.
this is hentai, but whatever.
I watched the trailer.
Hentai is art.
It's decent.
Yeah.
Why did I agree to be here with you?
Yeah. And you can view those scenes anytime you wish from the comfort of your own captain's quarters. So I guess you get to, once you unlock the scene by actually going through it, then you can watch it again and again, which is kind of like what happens in dirty
video unlock.
games.
That's a standard
Yeah.
thing in a lot of games is to
Yeah.
be able to rewatch cutscenes.
Yeah. Erotic visual novels do it all the time. So for years, but
The comedy that they place within this trailer felt very Deadpool to me.
have you seen Deadpool?
Nope,
Okay.
but it was edgy and also done in a way that I've seen other trailers do that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I described it as Deadpool, even though I haven't seen any Deadpool.
Yeah.
So there's that. They do poke Mass Effect quite a bit.
The game is essentially a Mass Effect parody.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite line in the trailer is the fact that it comes with 3 different colored endings, or 3 endings in different colors:
Yep.
red, green, blue.
Because people
And
aren't.
I know that's a poke at Mass Effect.
Because people aren't done being mad about shit that doesn't matter. But yeah,
I
it's.
mean, you never played Mass Effect.
No.
You have no say in this.
It's true.
Neither have I.
I'm
I
just-
would not poke that bear.
I'm just sitting here riling up the audience. That's all.
Why do you have to be that way?
So yeah, Studio FAO claims that some people on their staff have already shipped titles on Steam. So I guess that means that as if Steam Greenlight didn't exist or Early Access didn't exist, but the idea being that this is a this is a
thing
game
that's
they
happening.
intend to distribute on Steam, and so therefore Steam has been very big on, hey, we don't want sexual assault and abuse to be something that the games we carry, we don't want that in the games on our platform. We own this platform, we can do what we like. That's very true. And because Studio FAO wants to get this game onto Steam, the understanding is that any of that content is just not going to be present.
Well,
unless they slip it in the back door.
they said it was for. It was a creative decision, and I maintain that it was probably a marketing decision.
Yeah, it's an economic decision, definitely.
Because if you can't sell your game anywhere, then that's going to be hard on you.
Yeah, and to be fair, the game looks like the game's waifus look amazing. They're definitely the kind of thing that they're very lovingly rendered. Definitely.
I mean, a hentai game is the only game that I'm going to find jiggle physics laughable in, as opposed to a game that's meant to be taken very seriously.
Yeah. Anyway, let's hard tone shift.
Okay, Pocket Monsters, Pokemon.
What? I didn't read this. What is this about?
Okay, so this came out recently. It's, I believe, an app that is only available in the US right now, so I can't download it. But it's called Pokemon Pass. It's essentially just an app that you have to have a account on the Pokemon Trainer Club, which like a lot of people do now because you can use that for Pokemon Go, and you go to different stores that have a QR code in-store promotion going on. You scan it with that app, and then you get digital content.
Oh, so this isn't something
this
is a brand new app.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's brand new. So right now, if you go to Target with it, you're supposed to get either a shiny Pikachu or a shiny Eevee for Pokemon Let's Go. Which I find interesting because literally they have a mystery gift option in Pokemon Let's Go, and the only stuff that they've used for that is the Mew for the Pokeball, and then there's 2 Pokemon in Japan that they've given out. which seems weird to me because like in previous Pokemon games, it felt like they were doing mystery gifts like once a month, or at least a lot more often. And it's odd that the game's been out that long and hasn't really utilized that feature. So I'm kind of wondering if that's mixing in with that. But you're also supposed to get, they're saying that in future promotions, you're going to get stuff like digital stickers and wallpapers for your phone.
Okay.
It sounds like.
All right.
I don't know.
But you have to be able to go to Target to use this.
Well, you have to scan a QR code that you find at Target, and I know this app only came out a couple of days ago, and I've already seen on Reddit people sharing pictures.
I was going to say, you can just take pictures of QR
course,
codes.
Which is why, if you go to Target on May 11th between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. local time, you can get tie-in giveaways for the Detective Pikachu movie. This is just an app that's designed for, in the same way that we have those Pokemon mystery gifts that show up at game stores like EB Games or GameStop.
Right.
Where it's like, hey, if you show up at our store, we'll give you a card that has the mystery gift thing. It's the same thing, but now download a phone app. Make sure you go to Thing, which is going to suck if you don't have the phone app, I guess.
Right. And that's going to be either a special QR code that they have to boop with the app, or it's going to be some sort of like, I guess if you're there between X time and X time, because it's like 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. local time.
Well, that's for that specific tie-in.
Right,
of
but what I'm
additional
saying,
promotions.
what I'm saying is that because it's local time, it's local to the area in which your target is.
Yes.
And so during that period of time, whatever sort of QR code that they have that they'll be putting up will be up for a short period of time and then gone.
No.
Or
the QR code will still be there.
Okay, so it basically means if you go there on this date between these times, the app will know that you're there on this date between these times.
Well, the app is region locked, so if it does detect that you're not in a region that is doing that giveaway, it shouldn't give you the thing. What I'm saying is that there is a promotional tie-in that if you go at that specific time, you get additional stuff. The QR code is just going to be there on a standee.
Right, but that's what I mean is I'm like, so how can you get this if you don't go to Target? You can't.
Someone will post a picture online and you'll scan that.
Between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. local time?
That doesn't matter.
You just always be able to
There's going to be a certain date.
Okay, let me finish my sentence. You'll always be able to get the Detective Pikachu content no matter what.
That's a separate tie-in.
That's right. So what I'm asking is, how do you get that?
I feel like you're confusing two different things.
I'm not. I don't give a crap about the first thing because we know you can get that anytime you want. So it says additionally, if you go to a Target on this date between this time and this time, you get tie-in giveaways for this.
Yes.
Does it rely on the app?
I doubt it.
Okay.
I don't think they care about the app.
So that being in part of the story.
You coming to the store.
So that being in part of the story has nothing to do with the app.
Yes.
Great. That's what I'm trying to nail down here, because the fact that it's in the story makes it sound like you need to go to a Target during this time on this day.
Look,
and hey, we're talking about the app, so you better have the app when you do it.
It's not going to be like going to the PAX Nintendo booth where they want you to log into your My Nintendo account so that they can click it. I don't think they care.
Cool.
It's a Target.
Yeah.
I've worked retail. I would not care.
Yeah. So anyway.
Have we made it to home base yet?
I
We at there yet?
This was.
I see the chat yelling third base, and I totally agree with them.
I started that, but yeah. Anyway.
Glad that I like you. And now let's talk about hidden agendas.
Yeah.
Well, not hidden agendas.
Yeah,
so
speaking
much
of
as,
people slipping things through the back door.
But let's talk about what happened with what's this called? The Dark Room?
A Dark Room.
A Dark Room, which is a game that's a text-based adventure. It got ported onto the Switch recently, and the developer revealed that there was an Easter egg hidden in the Switch version. If you plug in a keyboard and you push the squiggly key, you get a Ruby interpreter.
The tilde.
I don't know what they're called, so I called them squiggly keys.
It's called the tilde.
Well, good for you.
Or tilde, some people overpronounce it.
No, I'm going to pronounce that wrong. I'm not going to say it that way.
Tilde. I've played A Dark Room. I played it on iOS, actually, when it years and years ago, I think, when it first came out. It's a very good game.
Oh. It's unfortunate that it's been removed from the eShop.
Yeah, it's probably only a few hours to play the game, too, but I thought it was very interesting. This bothers me.
Which part?
His reaction.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, okay, what he did bothers me, and his reaction bothers me. Because...
Can we start with what he did?
Okay, so he's programmed this game called The Dark Room. He's also programmed a lot of other games, too, and they're also interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And so he made this game. He published it through, I believe it's
Circle Entertainment.
Circle Entertainment.
Yeah, they do quite a few games,
Yeah.
especially iOS ones.
There's so many. And
Yeah,
so
he did Witch and Hero.
he published this, Circle published it rather, through, onto the Nintendo Switch. And just recently, the developer tooted on Mastodon, because that is what you do on Mastodon, you toot. He tooted on Mastodon, on his Mastodon account, in a very kind of like, ho, look at what I've accomplished.
Look at what I snuck in.
He was very proud of that he managed to do this. He put a Ruby interpreter and text editor into the game that if you plugged in a USB keyboard and then you hit the tilde key while the game is running, it would drop from the game into a Ruby interpreter and a text editor, allowing you to write your own Ruby code to execute within the sandbox of the game. And Nintendo, of course, found out pretty damn fast.
Well, when you start telling people about it,
Yes.
usually everybody notices.
And upon finding out, they said, we're yanking the game.
I don't know if they've even said it. I think the game just came
Well,
off
they
the store.
just yanked the game.
And,
I mean, nobody said anything. They
Because
just yanked
Circle
the game.
Entertainment themselves are currently talking to Nintendo to see what they should be doing next,
Yeah.
and there is no. They're not willing to comment themselves.
And so he's upset because he feels that everyone has blown the potential for this being an issue out of proportion. So, again, a single Ruby developer who has released a game on this platform has decided that the people who operate the console, on which a whole bunch of commerce is being committed day in, day out, they're being, who run a very walled garden, who are very interested in ensuring that only the things that they want to run on that system can only run on that system.
So he was responsible for porting it. He's not the original developer.
Thank you.
Okay,
I
cool.
appreciate that.
Michael
Okay.
Townsend is the original developer, according to Account Made for Ants.
That's great. And so, yeah, the person porting it then did this.
Yeah.
So, Nintendo has every right to decide what runs on their platform.
Yes.
I think this is a cool idea that this guy did to be like, I want to give people, I want to give kids specifically, but also older kids, basically adults, who became disenchanted with programming, but maybe want to have like a cool, fun way of doing programming. I'm going to be honest, I don't find programming like cool and fun. I find it cool, but I also find it like a lot of work, and I have great respect for the people who do it, but it doesn't seem like a fun thing for me. When I have a Switch in front of me, the last thing I'm thinking about is, what if I could write some arbitrary code that could execute only on stuff that's within the game anyway, so it's basically for modding the game and for doing that kind of stuff. And it's like, this wasn't very cool, because the dude is upset because he feels that everyone's sensationalizing this problem, and I'm like,
Except he also says that he takes partial responsibility
for making it sensational.
For the way that he wrote it, because he even said he knew that this probably wouldn't be part of the test plan to check by plugging in a USB keyboard and pushing that thing, and he did this at the last minute. Like
I snuck it in, is what he said.
He snuck it in. There are, according to the article, there are apps on the Switch where you can do coding. So it's not that doing coding in a sandbox is wrong for Nintendo. It's the fact that he didn't list it as a thing.
Yeah.
That means if you're sneaking stuff in on a game and they didn't check that, it's like when there have been games previously on the Switch that gave them a rating thing saying, oh, well, it's rated for this, and then they find out there's other content in there that actually changes the rating. Those games get pulled off, and then they get put up later under a different rating.
It's not the crime, it's the cover-up.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. It's like, dude, you did this thing. If you had released the game initially, like just released it to Circle and said, here you go, put it up on the thing, and then said you want to make an update later, and then you talked to Circle and you talked to Nintendo and said, hey, we want to have a Ruby interpreter in the game with a text editor that if we tell people they can do this, then kids who want to mod the game can do that, and it will be completely sandboxed, and you can't
it'll
execute
just be in the
arbitrary
game.
code. Now, except that when you have things like Cubic Ninja is how, which is a game for the 3DS, is a platform for 3DS, because it had a level editor, there was a way to do...
There was a way to run homebrew.
You could edit stuff, you could make level edits, but that would cause memory leaks, and then you could have a memory leak that allowed them to crack the 3DS so you could start running homebrew on it using this game.
Mm-hmm.
So...
That's why people are usually a little iffy
leery
about doing that kind of thing additionally, and why they would want to test it.
Yeah. And then all you had to do was just say, I want to include this, so we've released the game, and I want to include this because I think it'd be a fun thing to do. Are you willing to test it? And then you'll know whether or not they're willing to test it based on, would be like, well, if you want to include it, it's a way you can do that, then yes, we will do that because they could
Yeah.
do that. But instead, I think he's taking this thing of like, everyone's blowing this way out of proportion. And I'm kind of like, it's because who's going to let this guy publish anything on their consoles ever again?
Well, I mean, a game's been taken down, a game that you would be making money off of if it's still up, potentially, and now you can't, right?
Yeah.
You can't sell what you can't put on the store, and potentially you've even jeopardized a relationship between a company that was in good standing, and they're going to have to do something about you to show that they're doing a thing. You may have, and to brag about it and talk about it like that to make it public more.
Yeah.
Who wants to hire you
And
now?
maybe it wasn't
it's
even
not to say that
bragging. Maybe it was
people-
just like, oh, I did this thing and I think it's really cool and I'm really excited and I only thought of the one thing to do. But it's like, dude, you aren't releasing this in a vacuum. There's so many more people involved with this.
Also, and
that's the problem.
Knowing that he's ported the game, like he's not the original dev and he added a thing to a port, that can't be in his contract as a thing he's allowed to do.
Yeah, people in the chat have mentioned that this could be way out of scope for his contract, and to be fair, that could be possibilities. Now, we don't know.
No,
we don't know what's going to come of this. It's probably not going to be any of our business.
For all we know, it's loud and splashy right now, and in like a few months, it'll blow over. No one will remember, and he'll continue doing whatever. Or he may have just made himself very, very hard to get work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll probably never know, because why would we know beyond that? Why would anyone report beyond that?
Yeah, he might continue making ports and stuff for things like PC or for anything else where being able to run code on a PC is an understandable thing. But he might not be able to work on console stuff anymore or mobile versions anymore. That could be a thing. Who knows?
Maybe.
But, good on him for trying something interesting. You just didn't execute properly. That's, I think, the real takeaway from this. And he probably realizes that too.
Okay.
And that sucks.
We are short on time.
Yeah.
I'm skipping the Rage 2 is also playable on this Dreamcast.
I wanted to see what the
It's not a
console was, though.
Dreamcast. It's a remod. It's a computer shoved into a box that looks like a Dreamcast.
Wait,
There's
so
no story there.
they took a Dreamcast, they yanked out all the bits, and they put in
Yes.
different bits. Then
and that plays Rage 2.
it's not. It's a custom PC instead of Dreamcast
It's not a
shell.
custom-built Dreamcast. It's a shell on top of a custom-made PC wedged inside a Dreamcast.
Okay, and it's Bethesda doing this. They just made a modded PC that said a Dreamcast
that's
shell.
part
That's
of a
all
giveaway.
they did.
That's
Okay.
all they did.
All right.
It's not like they didn't make a Dreamcast that could play the game, which would have been a completely interesting story.
Yep.
But what is interesting is that Epic, because you got to get your Fortnite news apparently somehow, has acquired Rocket League, the studio that makes Rocket League.
Yeah. Psyonix is the name of the studio. So there was an update to this because people are like, oh my god, Epic has bought this. The first natural thing is, if Epic now owns Psyonix, does that mean that Rocket League is now taken off every platform whatsoever and will be buried
Well,
forever and will
to
only
be-
ever run
to
on
be-
Epic things? It's like, no, that's stupid. Please don't say that.
And to be fair, the quotes that they have in this article make it sound like they do intend to take it off of Steam. So the fact that they've come back and they're like, no, Steam will still be able to play Rocket League and the content will be there.
Because quite frankly, why wouldn't you, right? Like, I know Epic could be like, we want to make this an exclusive to us, but really all they're doing is saying, this is an acqui-hire. They're saying, we are acquiring this studio because we want their expertise and we want this really cool game.
Mm-hmm.
And now we definitely know that we we'll be able to have it on the store, but we also know that this studio can continue to make really cool stuff and we can fund it.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense, right? They've got a lot of money. They have a popular game. They're starting to make a store. Why wouldn't they start acquiring devs?
Yeah.
To make other games or help them maybe with those Fortnite things that they're crunching people on.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, it looks like they're going to continue to keep developing Rocket League, though. So that's good. People like Rocket League, and they'll keep making Rocket League.
Yeah, cars and hitting soccer balls. Maybe they can make a car football game next.
All right. So, I mean, this is car football.
I meant American football. I should say American football.
So, American car football or American car football? Or car American football?
American monster car American football.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really American.
Yeah.
Let's welcome our subs.
Okay.
Because up next after this is Lure MTG, I believe. And it should be starting...
No, it's Let's Nope.
Is it Let's Nope?
It's
Lure MTG.
Lure MTG?
Yeah.
Why did I think... Oh, I saw Adam and I thought he was here for Let's Nope.
Yeah.
Okay. No, Lure MTG.
It should be starting 2 minutes ago. So let's welcome our subs.
Hoktari... Hoktari? Hoktari, 35 months, almost 4 sub babies. Welcome back.
Cuttlefish Man subscribed for 28 months. Welcome back.
The Meerkat cheered with 100 bits. Just realized this isn't the other studio. Bleed Purple, Dadiri's takeover.
Feet of the Ground subscribed for 38 months. Welcome back.
The Fickle Cat for 6 months. Welcome back.
Raziel14085 subscribed for 11 months. Welcome back.
Skasher4430 is cheered with 1,000 bits. Thank you very much.
Igarius subscribed for 33 months. Sure, I like my hentai endings to be in different colors. Medic!
An anonymous gifter has gifted Studio Fow.
Hey, welcome! Nice.
Welcome.
Good luck with the game, in all honesty. If you are actually here watching this, I hope that the game succeeds for you. But Jesus...
They are not here. They were gifted.
Yeah, but if they walked in at this point, it's like, if the game works out, that's great, but man...
They are absolutely not going to watch us.
I'm a little... I hope the content is a little cleaner than whatever, but anyway. PK Jester subscribed for 26 months.
Earthen1 is cheered with 50 bits. Good news! I will assume I actually showed up late.
Oh, and the Meerkat, who's been very generous over the last couple of weeks with all these gift subs to specifically Kimi Katse, Wretched Spawn 99, Riandiza, Riel82, and Alex Hacks. All new subs. Thank you very much, and welcome to the channel, you guys. I hope you enjoy it.
All right, so we gotta go.
Yep.
Explosion for 30 months. Thank you for coming here.
But we're leaving for good now.
We're gonna leave, and well, no, until next time.
Yeah, and we
whenever
will,
that is,
right.
And they'll do some magicy whatevers.
Yeah, so stick around.
Bye.